History made. Chicago-born Robert Francis Prevost becomes Pope Leo the 14th, the first American ever to lead the Catholic Church. What will this former Peru missionary and Vatican insider bring to St. Peter's throne? White smoke delivers daily bulletins tracking this unprecedented pontificate as it unfolds. Will Leo the 14th continue Francis's inclusive vision or forge a new path blending American pragmatism with Latin American experience? And what does his papal name choice signal about his priorities? White smoke. Essential daily insights where ancient tradition meets modern challenge. New episodes every day wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey folks, Garrett Fisher here. I need to tell you about this absolutely mind-blowing podcast, Acting President, that's been keeping me up at night. It's about James Bennett, a former governor starring in a hit Sunday night TV show about overthrowing the government, and then his actual former chief of staff approaches him to do it for real. The line between fiction and reality completely disappears when these course correction rallies start popping up everywhere. Is it brilliant marketing or something more sinister? The parallels are insane. Trust me, this is the political thriller you didn't know you needed in your life. Acting President, available now wherever you find podcasts.
With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Calaroga Shark Media.
It was just after 6 p.m. Vatican time when white smoke rose from the chimney of the Sistine Chapel and the bells of St. Peter's Basilica began to ring. Thousands gathered in the square below, erupting in cheers. Nuns wept, tourists cheered, and somewhere inside the Apostolic Palace, the new pope was changing into his white cassock. Robert Francis Prevost of Chicago had just been elected as the 267th Pope of the Roman Catholic Church, and with that, he became the first American ever to lead the Church, taking the name Leo the 14th. This is white smoke. The announcement came swiftly. The conclave had only begun the previous day. This was fast, even by Vatican standards. A sign that the cardinals were not deeply divided. Leo the 14th was elected in fewer than 5 ballots. When Cardinal Dominique Mamberti stepped onto the balcony of St. Peter's and announced his name in Latin, many in the crowd were visibly confused. Some said aloud, "Who?" Few had expected the quiet Augustinian from Chicago to emerge as the successor to Pope Francis. When Pope Leo the 14th finally appeared on the balcony, he did not wave immediately. He stood still, visibly moved, looking out over the crowd waving banners, including several American flags. His voice, when he finally spoke, was calm, warm, and direct. "Peace be with you all," he said. It was a deliberate echo of the risen Christ's greeting to his disciples. What followed was a short speech in Italian and Spanish that emphasized unity and humility. He thanked Pope Francis, spoke of building bridges, and nodded to his own formation. "I am a son of St. Augustine. With you, I am a Christian. For you, I am a bishop." He concluded with a direct message to his former diocese in Chiclayo, Peru, expressing gratitude for the years he spent serving its people. And just like that, the papacy of Leo the 14th had begun. The new pope's biography reads like a study in contrasts. Born in Chicago in 1955 to a devout Catholic family, Robert Francis Prevost grew up attending Mass at St. Mary of the Assumption Parish in Riverdale. His father was a school superintendent. His mother was a parish volunteer and librarian. By the time he reached adolescence, Prevost had already entered seminary. He joined the Augustinian order, studied mathematics at Villanova, and later earned advanced degrees in divinity and canon law. In 1982, at the age of 27, he was ordained in Rome and assigned as a missionary to northern Peru. There, in places most bishops would never visit, he built parishes, trained local clergy, and lived among the people. He was known to travel on horseback to remote villages. He taught, listened, organized, and led. In 2001, he was elected Prior General of the Global Augustinian Order, based in Rome. That role took him around the world. He visited every continent. He dealt with crises. He built a reputation for diplomacy, empathy, and quiet efficiency. After his second 6-year term, he returned to Peru and was named Bishop of Chiclayo. In 2023, Pope Francis brought him back to Rome to serve as prefect of the dicastery for bishops, effectively placing him in charge of naming the next generation of church leaders. Still, few expected him to become pope. He wasn't a headline maker. He hadn't written a best-selling theology book. He wasn't known for fiery speeches. But what he did have was experience, calm leadership, and the trust of Pope Francis. So when the cardinals entered the conclave looking for someone to continue the church's path without stoking ideological division, many looked toward him. He was Latin American by way of decades of ministry. He was American, but not overtly political, and he knew how to work with the Vatican's often unpredictable machinery. How will Leo the 14th compare with those who came before? His election comes directly after one of the most consequential papacies in modern history. Pope Francis reoriented the church toward the margins, focusing on the poor, the environment, and a more synodal approach to leadership. He was at times criticized for his ambiguity, especially on moral issues. He encouraged open dialogue and pushed reforms, often meeting resistance from more conservative bishops. Leo the 14th appears poised to continue many of Francis's priorities, but likely with a quieter, more managerial style. Those who know him describe him as thoughtful, precise, and collaborative. Where Francis was bold and sometimes provocative, Leo may be methodical. That doesn't mean his tenure will be without tension. The Catholic Church remains deeply divided. In the United States, for example, young priests are increasingly conservative, while many laypeople support a more inclusive vision of the Church. Across Europe, mass attendance is in decline. In the global South, the Church is growing, but often lacks resources and leadership. Leo the 14th faces all of this, plus the ever-present challenge of restoring credibility after decades of abuse scandals. He will also need to build a governing team. As of today, we don't know which Vatican officials he'll retain, which ones he'll replace, or whether he'll continue to decentralize power from the Curia. We also don't yet know when he'll name his first cardinals, though observers expect a consistory by year's end. In the next week, he's scheduled to celebrate Mass with the cardinal electors in the Sistine Chapel, pray the Regina Coeli in St. Peter's Square, and hold his first meeting with the press. All signs suggest he wants to maintain a steady pace, not sprint out of the gate. But the world is watching. For the first time in 2 millennia, the Pope of the Roman Catholic Church holds a United States passport. That fact alone carries enormous symbolic weight. It will shape how this papacy is perceived in Latin America, in Europe, and certainly in Washington. But Leo the 14th's words, delivered in Italian and Spanish, not English, make it clear his loyalties are broader than any one flag. He is a missionary, an Augustinian, a Vatican insider who knows how to move through the gears of the world's oldest institution. His papacy will not be flashy, but it may prove steady, deliberate, and consequential. This was the day after the smoke turned white, the day when the world began to understand who Pope Leo the 14th might become.
In Washington, D.C., power flows through information. But what happens when the most sensitive military intelligence in the world ends up on the wrong phone? In the halls of power, a national security advisor makes a fatal miscalculation. On the other side of the world, a special forces team walks into a perfectly orchestrated trap. When the dust settles, 4 American soldiers are dead, 3 more captured. And the most catastrophic intelligence breach in modern history is just beginning to unravel. Signal Lost, a 6-part podcast thriller about betrayal, courage, and the devastating consequences of a world where even our most guarded communications are never truly secure. When everyone is listening, nowhere is safe. Signal Lost. Available wherever you get your podcasts.
Breaking news from the stadium tonight as an anonymous fan foot the bill for 55,000 hot dogs, bringing that sweet tubed meat to everyone in attendance.
Free dogs! Yeah!
55,000 hot dogs? What does that even cost?
While the identity of this Frankfurter philanthropist remains anonymous, their all-beefy generosity will go down in history.
The new Mega Millions. More to win means more to give. How you spend it is up to you.
Yeah!
For game odds and details, visit sceducationlottery.com.
Feeling overwhelmed by negative news? 5 Good News Stories is your daily dose of what's going right in the world. Like the 103-year-old granny who got caught speeding in her sports car because she was living life to the fullest, or the family who found their missing cat after 3 years when it showed up at their vacation rental. Remember Flop the penguin's incredible comeback after his injury? And that guy who broke the world record for most high fives in 24 hours while raising money for charity? These are the stories that remind us the world is still full of wonder and joy. 5 Good News Stories. Pure positivity 3 times a week. 5 Good News Stories, available wherever you get your podcasts. 5 Good News Stories,